So you've decided on the nigh impossible task of playing 7 instruments at the same time. All right, let's give it a go. Right, so it's not impossible, and it's more like 4 instruments at the same time, technically. So if you're here today, you're probably at the beginning of your drumming journey, or you're having some trouble coordinating your limbs, getting your right hand with your left hand, with your right foot, things like that. So what we're aiming to do is break things down into manageable chunks so we can get to operating our limbs simultaneously. All right, so let's take a look at what we're trying to achieve today. It goes something like this. Which might not seem like much at first, but if we speed that up a little bit, now you have like 90% of the AC/DC catalog. And if you speed that up a little more, now you're a punk. So we're really going to start breaking this down to a molecular level here. So each of these strokes falls on a numbered beat like this.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So we're going to start to tease apart what each of the limbs are doing, and then we're going to build it back up so we're playing this beat cohesively. So we're going to start by taking a look at what the right hand is doing on the hi-hat. And just as a quick technical note, our right hand is crossing over the left over the snare drum hand, unless you're playing open-handed, in which case your left hand is going to be playing the hi-hat, or if you're a lefty and your kit is reversed, just flip this video horizontally and you'll be good to go. So the right hand is simple on the hi-hat, like this.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so let's take a look at what the left hand on the snare is doing.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And finally, the kick, your right foot, is doing this.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So once you're comfortable with these bits individually, we're going to start to piece 2 of them together at a time. And so we're going to start with the right foot on the kick and the left hand on the snare. Something like this.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. And once we have that down, maybe we can move to the kick and the hi-hat like this.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And lastly, the hi-hat and the snare drum right hand and left hand like this.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So when we feel like we're getting the hang of that, we can start putting it all together beat by beat if you'd like. So we're going to break this down 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what was 1, hi-hat and kick? Cool. What was 2, snare and hi-hat? And so 3 and 4 are just a repeat of the same thing. So maybe you start to practice putting 1 and 2 together. And then you stop, and then maybe you do it again. And maybe it gets easier to put those 2 closer together. And then perhaps you try to put 1, 2, 3, and 4 together. Ah, and there it is. That's our beat. Now, you should really be playing these as slowly as you need to start out. So whether you are playing each of the drums individually, the hi-hat, snare, kick, if you're putting 2 of them together and that's giving you some trouble, just start to slow it down a bit. Or if you are at the point where you're combining all of them together, take it super slow. There's no need to rush. It's not a race. I think one of the most common mistakes that musicians make at any point in their journey, whether they're a beginner, intermediate player, or advanced beyond, is trying to play things too quickly because your ego sort of gets ahead of you. But there's really no need. We can play things as slowly as we want for as long as we want until we get it. There's no problem there. So really feel free to slow it down. So hopefully you found some value in this, and it can be a good launching point as you're just starting out. And speaking of just starting out, this is going to be the first video in a beginner series. So we're going to be covering topics like reading the beat that you just learned how to play and gripping the sticks properly. So one last thing before we wrap up, if you feel like you jive with my teaching style, I do teach private lessons as well. So if you're in the Western Mass area, I do in person, and if you're further away, I do online as well. If I've done my job correctly, there should be a link to my website in the downward below region here with all the information about private lessons if you're interested. So thank you all again, and I'll see you in the next lesson.